What a feel-good image we got here. I don't like Catnap and his friends. I see him everywhere. I can't escape him. I would call that a crying child.
Whoa.
Cassidy, which stands for cat, like catnap. Catnap Cassidy. Cassidy Nap, crying. All of them starting with C's.
Whoa.
C, 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 and now you see. Hey guys, and welcome to GT Not Live, where today it's time to get P-O-O-P... No, that's poopy. P-O-O-P-Y, that's poopy. P-O-P-P-Y, that's Poppy. That's Poppy, sorry. And I'm not talking about, internet sensation slash viral meme star Poppy, the YouTuber. You know the music of Poppy?
Of course I know the music of Poppy.
I don't know. Maybe you don't.
No, I appreciate you being understanding if I didn't, but
sure.
She's part of my blood.
Ollie and I like some of those Poppy songs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have not introduced him to the fact that she has demonic influences and might be working for the Illuminati. But, outside of that, no, for a while there was Poppy. But today, we're hopping into the world of Poppy Playtime, the other Poppy. And not to be confused with P-O-O-P-Y, which is Poopy. Very different series for probably a very different channel, to be honest. One of the things that we so love here on the Theorist channels is when game developers release books about their games, because that gives us more homework to do. It's like we never left school. And historically speaking, it has been my job to read all of said books in order to stay on top of things. And it's still important for me to do that, but it is slightly less important because, I'm not the guy for the job anymore. That's all Mr. Tom, Mr. Dapper Tom over there. And so what?
Every single time we say his username on this channel, you say it wrong.
Tom, Mr. Dapper.
And I love your commitment to the bit.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time it's going to be rearranged.
Tom Dapper, mister.
Mr. Dapper. Dap Tom Purse.
Dap Tom.
Dap Tom. Dap that Tom. I learned how to dap from Santi in that one episode. Anyway, long story short, my friends, today we're going into the Poppy Orientation Handbook. This is basically Poppy. Do you have the physical book? You want to toss it to me?
Do.
You do have it over there, right? Because I know we have 2 copies.
Yes. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. 3.
You don't have to count me in. I am a physical human being who can... You really didn't have to count me down for that.
I wanted to make sure you were prepared.
Yeah.
It's better to over-communicate than under-communicate.
It wasn't like you were tossing a pair of scissors at me.
Well, it's an awkward shape, too, because, if you throw it in such a way where it starts spinning and that hits you on the head, ouch.
Okay,
Paper cut.
Ouch, paper cut. Anyway, yes, we're talking about this one today, the Poppy Orientation Handbook. Basically, this is the Poppy Playtime version of what the security logbook was for Five Nights at Freddy's back in the day, where it is an in-universe guide for one of the employees or for a variety of the employees that are handed out to them as workers at this place. But as you might expect from a release of the series, there's secret lore details and spooky mysteries to be solved. Unlike the orientation handbook unlike the survival logbook that FNAF did, which was more of like a kids activity book and kids activity game. This is literally just a book that you read and that there are clues and hints added into here. I love that there is O in the oven and also Pet Stone. This is page 51. I'll show it up on screen here in a second. But this is more like, hey, reading between read the thing and then read between the lines of the thing. And back to you, Ash.
Oh.
3.
Yep.
2.
Yep.
1.
Yes.
Toss.
Woo!
Nice.
Thank you.
Toss accepted. And whereas in the past, I have read this day one and tried to get it early and things like that. I have spot checked some of the stuff in here. As far as I've known, I read a couple pages with Ollie because Ollie really loves talking about Poppy Playtime, but I have not had a chance to really go down and focus in on the whole thing, right? I have not gotten a chance to really dive into all the depths in the way that Tom has done for the theory that he just released. So I figured why not do some of that on GT Live and at least kickstart me into doing that, because it is still relevant for me to be aware of this franchise. I still really enjoy Poppy Playtime. There will be more games and things that come out that, might be my responsibility to play. And so it's one of those things that it behooves me to stay aware of this franchise. I enjoy staying aware of this franchise, and if I can make content out of it, it might as well, because I figured it's something that you guys would probably be interested in too, right? I don't know how many of you are going out and reading this book. I don't know how many of you are coming up with theories on your own, but me paging through this a little bit, popping around in it a little bit, popping around in it, I hate myself, popping around in a little bit in order to just live theory craft with you guys might be fun. We had a good time with this when the character encyclopedia came out for FNAF, and it seems like this will be a good one too. What's tricky about this one, though, is there's no digital version of it. So we had the brave Justin downstairs, a photocopy every page. So shout outs to Justin. You are the best, sir. Thank you for doing this so we can do this episode. So without any further ado, should we just hop into it, Ash?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go for it.
Okay. So we'll start off here with the first couple of pages, and then we'll hop actually towards the back, because the back was some of the things that I found interesting. It was also some of the things that Tom calls out in his theory that we should probably talk about. And then from there, we can kind of flip around, see what things are interesting to us. Ash, I know you have a list of things that you might want to talk about as well.
Yes.
Which is great. So, cool. So just to get the lay of the land here, page 1, orientation notebook. I received this, and it kind of lays the groundwork, right? I received this book a few months ago. I was curious what they'd say and what they wouldn't. So I read it cover to cover, like us. Look, we are doing the exact same thing as the character in the book itself. I still don't understand why they hired me, a biologist. Very, very seamless there. Very organic way of doing that. I don't understand why they hired me, a biologist, to do research and development at a toy factory. They said I had exactly the skills that they wanted, but they were vague about what exactly they wanted my skills for. I've been at Playtime a while now, and it turns out that there's a lot of stuff that they do here that isn't in the handbook, so I'm adding a few notes of my own. This company is not what they make it out to be. So again, you're setting up this conceit similar to the ghostly text in the survival logbook, where you had letters rearranged, you had ghosts writing things. Here, you have these kind of post-it notes or little notation pad additions that are kind of adding a level extra context or new layers to the story here. So you're getting the corporate line, you're getting the layer of story coming from this character, and then anything else beyond that. So again, you're telling multiple layers of story here, which is why I like this sort of stuff. I think we've all had various thoughts, some stronger, some weaker, when it comes to the Fazbear Fright stories, things like that, and how they play into things, how the novelizations have played into things. These are the sorts of books that I really respond to, where they're an in-universe book that you kind of read between the lines and you get the clues for, which is really fun. So this is by PW, which is a character that we have not seen or heard explicitly mentioned in the franchise itself, in the games itself, but seems to be, as Tom said in his theory, seems to be the person who is our player character. And there's a lot of clues that kind of allude to that. Things like the fact that they had survived the Hour of Joy, the fact that they're coming back and trying to expose some of the cover-ups that are happening here, and we'll hopefully get to see some of that as we flip through. Real quick message from our founder here on page 2. I'm thrilled to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you as you embark on an exciting journey with us at Playtime. As the founder of this incredible company, it fills me with immense pride to see our family grow and flourish. So again, you have this Elliot Ludwig always going back to this idea of it's a family, it's a family, it's a family. And that's something that we've talked about a lot in our theories, both with mine and with Tom, that really the whole Playtime Co. thing started in this idea of creating, them housing orphans and him using medical science and whatever weird voodoo's going on in this place to make toys come to life and to put human people into toys, to make them live forever through the toys, to reincarnate the dead through toys, like we saw them doing experiments with the poppy gel and the dead rats in chapter 2. So again, it's all this idea of Elliot Ludwig wants to make this company a family, right? He wants to keep his family alive, right? And in the form of Poppy. Playtime Co. was established with one mission in mind: to bring joy and laughter into the lives of children around the world through the creation of high quality, innovative toys. Over the years, our humble factory has blossomed into a world-renowned institution, capturing the hearts of millions. Our dedicated team of designers, engineers, artists, and dreamers work tirelessly to craft toys that not only ignite imagination, but also inspire innovation and exploration. From whimsical stuffed animals to mind-bending puzzles. That's interesting.
Mind-bending?
Yeah, right? Like a toy company delivering mind-bending puzzles. Interesting. Right? A very specific way of putting it. Every product that leaves our factory is a testament to our unwavering commitment to excellence. At Playtime Co., we strongly believe that the true magic lies within our people. Haha, it lies within the people. Each one of you brings the unique set of talents and perspectives, and it is through collaboration, creativity, and teamwork that we can continue to shape the future of play. As a member of our team, you are a part of something extraordinary, and your contributions will have a direct impact on the lives of the children across the globe. We look forward to everything you do and accomplish here. And remember, envision that future you desire, and never loosen your hold on it, because even something so simple, so small as a toy, can change the future if it makes even one child feel less alone. Do this, and before you know it, you'll live that brighter future. All it takes is time. So, what's the time? Playtime! Cute. Very cute. And it coincides with a lot of what we've seen with Playtime so far. Anything interesting with the toys up here? Not really. Bunzo, Braun, all the usual suspects. Nothing new, no hints of anything new. When it comes to hints at things new, the Great American Company. So it starts really at the very beginning, right? Like this is a very chronological book where it takes you through a lot of like the key beats. Playtime Co. was founded in 1930. They're literally just giving us the timeline, which is cool. And it became the most renowned toy factory in the world. Today, we're still known for our commitment to quality and our mission to bring joy to children everywhere. Although we've created many widely beloved toys such as Braun, Candy Cat, and Poppy, it was the release of Huggy Wuggy in the 1980s that took us to new heights. And the game, too. How does a company that's more than 6 decades old stay ahead of the market? Innovation. Innovation is key. We'll never fall back on our past glories. We're always looking to the future. Well, the beginning really kind of is talking a lot about the early days. One of the things I wanted to hop into was some of the stuff towards the back here. And I thought that this was interesting. I like the posters. They include the posters all over the place. Quiet during the show. Loud noises during the show may result in your immediate removal. I think it's fun. This one I thought was adorable. Silence your electronics. With Boogie Bot just being accosted by everyone. I love that. I thought that was really cute. But I wanted to call out some of the stuff here. So they have in-universe explanations. And the more I look at this book, the more that they just explicitly explain stuff to us, which is cool. They have explanations for things that you wouldn't even expect them necessarily to explain away, right? So in Project Playtime, the spin-off game, you sometimes have to hide in these little cabinets, right? Standard sneaking around in video games trope, right? You have a random locker that is there, whether it's Metal Gear Solid, whether it's Poppy, whether it was a Bendy, had a bunch of lockers everywhere. And what you would assume is just, oh, it's a storage locker. In this case, isn't, right? Like, I think to a lot of people playing the game, it's like, oh, that's just a gameplay mechanic, so why would there be an in-universe explanation? But here they do it, right? They're talking about the production line. The Make-A-Friend machine can't cope with the demands of manufacturing, so this area contains much of the machinery. That's fine. But it's this little note right here. Need to shut it all out. In several areas of the factory, we've introduced another of our great original ideas, the Portal Lounge. These may look like ordinary equipment lockers painted in bright colors. That's exactly what they are. If you feel overwhelmed by your responsibilities or a colleague is driving you crazy, step into a Portal Lounge for a mental health break. Stand there as long as you need to. Although that comes with the caveat, for breaks longer than 5 minutes, your pay will be docked. So, yeah, corporate America, Playtime Co. truly following in the footsteps of greatness. No more than 1 break is to be taken per 4-hour shift. Please do not scream while inside the Portal Lounges. We don't want to, hurt the morale of any of the other overstressed, tired employees that exist at Playtime. And here we also have PW. Again, our potential player character, former worker here, the biologist. The Portal Lounge, my old friend. I love how he just waxes nostalgic. Our player character talks in a very funny way. I make use of these pretty regularly working in the labs. So this is present tense. Although he's checking out the book after the fact. So the fact that this is in present tense makes me wonder when he's writing these. I make use of these pretty regularly working in the labs. In fact, there's often a waiting list to use them. One of them literally saved my life once. That's really interesting. And that's a detail that, to my knowledge, we haven't seen yet appear in any of the game chapters, any of the recordings, things like that. But keep an eye out, because that would confirm that PW is in fact our player character. But the fact that they just kind of like seed that out as a story thread is pretty compelling. But again, I don't think anyone was asking for any sort of explanation around like, why are there just equipment lockers everywhere? We buy them as equipment lockers that have potentially been rebranded. But it's cool that they're thinking of in-universe explanations for a lot of this stuff, which I like. The other thing I wanted to call out here, though, this is the back of the book, right? So presumably you've read through everything else, you've gotten all these details, you've gotten all this lore. So a lot of things tend to get saved for like the front of the book and the back of the book, because you want to start strong and end strong. And I want to call this one out, Destroy a Toy, which we have not seen yet. But this, to me, I think, is probably the next area of the game. This would be my guess. Chapter 3 ends with us descending down deeper into the depths of playtime. Kissy Missy gets taken or destroyed. We're not 100% sure, but we hear like sounds of her getting attacked. So that's not great. And we're with Poppy on this elevator down into the depths. Where we're going, we're not 100% sure. Destroy a Toy, though, and this is why I want to call it out. We don't want rejected or faulty toys getting out into the world, where they could do serious harm to the reputation of Playtime Co. or result in a lawsuit. So instead of just throwing them in the trash, where they might get picked out, given away, or resold, we have the Destroy a Toy facility. Here, unwanted toys can be incinerated using flame and lava creating devices. Like that right there, flame and lava creating devices, if that doesn't scream fire level, incinerator level to you in a video game, like I don't know what does, right? When I think of like final level of any video game, I think, you think of like Bowser's castle, right? And you think of like he's always surrounded by lava and volcanoes, and the lead up to his castle is always, you're riding on like the bone roller coasters and things like that. And so I hear that this is an area where there's a bunch of flame spewing and lava creating devices. Yeah, that sounds like we're going to be platforming through this stuff. It gets very, and it serves as a very dramatic conclusion. Also sounds like the type of place that the prototype would use as his lair, a la like a King Bowser, a Koopa Troopa, things like that. It gets very hot in here, but we must emphasize that this is not an excuse to work in your underwear. That's a blow. All employees must wear shirts and pants at all times. We don't want to have to remind you again. Also, subtle detail in the back here, the defect over top of Huggy Wuggy's face, this little stamp back there. I think it's interesting that they have a stamp specifically for rejected toys. You may think it's strange to devote such a large area of the factory to destroying toys, but it's another one of those things that we do differently around here. We take destruction very seriously. So before I get to the note down here, I think the other thing that this opens up, right? I don't know if this is necessarily the next location or the final location, but I would almost guarantee that we're going to be going to the Destroy a Toy facility. How could you not, right? Like the way that they've subtly set this up seems really interesting. The fact that it's fire and lava themed already raises the stakes in a way that, like, we just got through like a gas section where the stakes were raised a little bit and the gas is everywhere. Now all of a sudden there's fire and lava everywhere. But more importantly than anything else, it opens up the door to some really scary stuff, right? If all of a sudden this is the place where rejected and faulty toys go, now all of a sudden you're surrounded by these like hideous creatures, right? This isn't the Smiling Friends where it's a bunch of like cute toys that have kind of gone rogue or are crawling at you through the pipes and tubes of playtime, through the play places. These are actual, like, think about it like Toy Story, the first ever Toy Story in Sid's room, where the toys are kind of like recombobulated with each other or like remixed. And you have these like horrific creations that are chasing you down, partly burned, coming out from all different angles, and you're seeing like the pieces and parts remixed and remastered into each other. That's terrifying and super merchandisable. So really, and also the last thing I would say is it also makes it easier for mob games, right? As they're making this game, you create so many new original models. Hey, what if we just take Brawn head and put it on a Cat B body or whatever? It gives you a chance to explore ideas that may have been left on the cutting room floor or reuse assets in new, interesting ways. So it's saving you development time. I think this right here, Destroy a Toy, coming to a Poppy Playtime near you. Going back into the book, someone put a note in the employee suggestion box saying that we should include this on the tour and let kids throw toys into the lava. So this also suggests that this is a place that is accessible to the wider public, which we seem to be to some extent here, where we're going through a lot of like publicly facing areas, or places where a lot of people have circulated. So I think some of the executives were in favor of this idea because it would mean that we didn't have to employ so many people to work at the incinerators if we could just get the kids to do it for free. Others thought that we shouldn't encourage kids to see our toys as trash to be burned. I see both angles. I think that's fair. I think it's an interesting one. But also, they even have concept art for it, right? So it would be one thing if it was just like, oh, let's talk about this place. But they have a rough logo for it. They have the environment for it. We see the incinerators happening right there. Like, this is giving you a preview of coming attractions, right? In much the same way that some of the FNAF books, Freddy Files, not necessarily the logbooks and things like that, but some of the Freddy Files and stuff had secret pages in the back showing Springtrap getting digitized or like turning into code or whatever, or a busted up Chica hunched over in a room mysteriously, and everyone's like, why is that? It's giving you a teaser. It's the post-credits tease, right, at the end of the book. It's giving you a teaser for what's coming up next. So there you have that. The screening, so the last couple pages here, screening room. This is a relaxing environment where employees can watch and absorb our informational VHS tapes about aspects of the factory and the company's history. You're encouraged to take your breaks there. To which PW says, Playtime loves putting instructions on tape for us. I guess they don't trust everyone to actually read the employee handbook. To which I turn the tables on Ash. Ash.
Hi. Hey.
Have you read the Theorist employee handbook?
I read the first version of it.
You did?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well done. So we don't. I was gonna make a joke about us having to put them on tape because I know. Because as a legal body and as a company that employs people, you have to have a handbook as requirement. And there are like templates and stuff for handbooks, but you know, we try to make it as good as possible and useful to employees, right? If we're running a business, we want to make it real. And how'd you find our handbook?
It was sent to me when I first got hired, and then there was a revision, and I never signed the revision.
Okay.
I have my reasons.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Oh, really? I don't know this.
I do, actually.
Oh, good. We should talk about that at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
Or someone should follow up. That's probably a Rachel job, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, that's good.
I meant to talk to her about it, but then I forgot.
Great.
Yeah. I was just like, you know what? I know this is a typo.
Yeah.
But it's a bad typo.
Yeah.
And I can't sign off on that.
Great.
Actually.
Please talk to Rachel about the typo in the handbook. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
But anyway, long story short, we should probably put it onto VHS. I was gonna be like, oh, we should put it onto VHS tape so people will watch it. But now we should fix the typo and then do it on tape.
Yes.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, but everyone has to come in and sign off and say like, hey, I've read the handbook. I understand X, Y, and Z. I do think though that the amount of things that we sign without reading them, I am glad that you didn't just sign it without reading it. That's great.
Thank you.
Good job.
Appreciate that.
Way to follow the job.
Yeah, it's what I do.
There are always plenty of tapes around, so it's understandable that when people got concerned about what was going on here and wanted to make a record of it, they started reusing the tapes. People recorded things and made more copies, hoping the truth would get out somehow. That's what Rowan Stoll thought, obviously. So Rowan Stoll was one of the guys, in case you don't know, was from one of the big ARGs that Poppy released, kind of in the big gap that existed before Chapter 3. We've done a couple theories on him. He's dead at this point, so you don't have to worry too much about him. I believe he's the one who was killed by Boxy Boo for in the Project Playtime kind of side of the story. So no big worries there. And there we go. There's a tape of the Boxy Boo experiments. Thankfully, I don't think I'm on it, but it shows they knew. They knew what the creatures were capable of. We all knew. So again, this is this idea. The truth will get out eventually. This is this idea of we all knew. We knew what the creatures were. I was guilty, right? So one of the things that we've talked about a lot when it comes to the protagonist of Poppy Playtime, this what we assume is PW, right, is he is coming back to the factory to atone for his sins, right? He feels bad about what happened. He managed to survive the hour of joy, but he feels bad about what happened to the other employees, and he wants to go back and solve the problem, free whoever's left, or just kind of like end the saga that he helped to create, right? And you see here that this is very accurate. Thankfully, I don't think I'm on it, but so he's nervous about potentially having legal ramifications, about being a part of the weird experiments that are happening here. But it shows that we all knew, we were all responsible. We knew what was capable. So there's also an admission of guilt and an admission of regret in that note, which again goes a lot to motivation of this character and why he would subject himself to this dangerous situation, continue to go down into the depths to atone for kind of the mistakes that he made as a part of this. Last thing that I'll talk to, and then I'm going to talk to Ash, who has a guided tour of some key pages here. But the other thing I want to call out was the employee calendar on the back. So anytime you're getting a calendar or a timeline or some sort of like listing of events, people ask all the time, like, oh, where do you get theories from, or where are you pulling evidence from? Stuff like this, gold mine, right? Like books like this are in general a gold mine, but this in particular is like, oh, this is what's going to help us answer a lot of questions or open up a lot of stuff, right? So obviously you have goofy stuff like the rescheduled Christmas party that's happening on January 11th, which sucks. But already we've got here 1994 sales figures announced, right? That's a minor detail to most people who's reading it. That's kind of boring, why you would skip over it. But already that tells you that what year this is, right? We learned at the beginning of the book that Playtime Co. was started in the 1930s. And we know here that this calendar was written in 1995, right? If 1994 sales figures were announced, that means that presumably we have just completed the calendar year of 1994. It's the top of the year. They've finished tabulating however they sold. And so the sales numbers are announced. So this book is coming to us from 1995. Meeting to decide who to blame and or fire for those 1994 sales figures, which is great. We see that here in 1995, new orphans are still coming into the company. So even though BoogieBot in, I believe, 93 is the last toy that we see Playtime releasing or kind of talking about publicly, we see that here in 1995, orphans are still going into the play care. New orphans arrive at play care, been told to go and say hello to them, don't want to, will pretend to be sick. So PW, again, is showing that he is aware of what's going on here, is being invited and is an active participant in it. And even though they don't like it, they're still a part of it, right? Which is coinciding with a lot of the details that we saw prevalent throughout chapter 3. But already in just a couple pages, there's so many layers to this character who we've just learned about, and this character who we assume is our player character now. We get a safety seminar. It's canceled due to a fire in the seminar room. Badoom ching, I like that. New orphan aptitude test evaluation. So this is what we saw in chapter 2, where the orphans are put into these tests, and we see if their personality types, their skill sets, whatever, align with toys. And so who do we fit them in with? Scheduled labs for experiment number 1467? 1457? Can never remember the darn numbers. Okay, so this is saying, so this person, PW, scheduled labs for experiment. So labs, right, is just general testing, maybe like blood tests, things like that. The fact that this is crossed out means that we don't know who they're doing lab experiments on, right? It's funny that he doesn't know the numbers, which also could be a fun way of retconning. Like maybe they made a mistake in a past thing and been like, oh, it was just PW misremembering the numbers or whatever. Inspection day at the park. That might be answered earlier in the book. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know what the park is referencing. Do you know what the park is in Poppy?
No.
Right? I was going to say, in chapter 3, we visit a bunch of different places. Chapter 2 is about kind of like the testing facility. So I don't know what the park is. But the fact that it exists is intriguing. I wonder if it's a big, like open area or some sort of like underground like amphitheater or something.
Yeah, I don't love that it's in quotes.
Right? The fact that it's in quotes similar to what I called out about the Destroy a Toy facility, where it's like, oh, that feels like a place that we're going to be headed to in a future, if not the next one, then the future one. The fact that they're calling out the park and it's got quotes around it and it's important, it tells us that there's actual thought put. This isn't just a place that they're, oh yeah, inspection day at like the packing facility or whatever. It's like, oh no, this has a moniker, which means it has lore around it, which means they've thought through what is this place and what's the story attached to it. So anyway. Meeting with lawyers to discuss the latest lawsuits. Meeting with lawyers to discuss injuries sustained by a lawyer during the previous visit. That's great. I missed some stuff at the bottom here. Show new and turn around experiment records, which to archive, which to destroy. Discuss plans for 10th anniversary Kissy Missy campaign. So again, this is 10th anniversary. So it tells us Kissy, and we knew this, but it's one of those things where it reinforces Kissy Missy 1985. The Kissy Missy campaign, possibility of personal appearance, telling them this is absolutely impossible. You know, I got this one. Interview with local police. Don't forget the kickback money. So again, PW is guilty on a lot of layers here. Not only are there a biologist who's helping participate in these experiments, knows that kids are coming in, knows how powerful the toys are, but is also actively bribing the police. Here in 1995, the police are being bribed by Playtime Co. to ignore what's happening in the facility. So it shows you that this is actually a huge deal. And this is a pretty substantial conspiracy at this point, which also explains, which is a very convenient way of making sure that, like, you know, they don't have to worry about, hey, why aren't the cops exploring this? Or what's the legal ramifications of this? Well, it doesn't matter because there's kickback money. Team debrief. Deadline to respond to lawsuits. Deny everything, as you would expect. Safety seminar was canceled due to an outbreak of toxic gas. Awesome. Surgery. Remember to bring change of clothes after what happened last time. Booked full-on day in the porta. He's booked the full day in the porta lounge. So, as we established earlier on a couple pages ago, he was in the porta lounges a lot. His pay's going to get docked for a full day. If they're getting docked by the 5 minutes they spend in that thing, that's a lot of lost income, just saying. But it shows, right, that whatever is happening here with the surgery, he's going to be traumatized by, and so is the porta lounge. So I'm assuming what he's talking about here is a timeline of events, right? So new kids arrive. They are tested through this aptitude investigation, at which point then, about a month later, surgery happens. Is this where the kids are being put into the toys now? Like the ones who passed the aptitude test or fit in, it is now PW's job to like transition whatever that like physical material is that constitutes the kid into, you know, the smiling critter or whatever that is, right? That's one of those things that we saw in the earliest of Poppy Playtime trailers was, you know, chips and wires being removed or inserted into bloody dolls, right? That would also explain why, if he's doing surgery on kids and put them into toys or whatever, that's why you would need a day in the porta lounge the next day, because you're like, oh, this is literally the worst. Data entry at Dr. Sawyer, so we know that this person is dealing with Dr. Sawyer, who, again, as a reminder, is the mastermind behind the Bigger Bodies initiative. So he's the one who's really, in a lot of ways, an evil mastermind of this whole operation. A demonstration for toy store buyers looking ahead to Christmas, very high security. So they need it for privacy reasons. But again, is this them prepping the toys for the Christmas season? So he's doing surgery, and then here they are. Meeting to discuss concerns from Playcare staff. Meetings to discuss concerns from Game Station staff. Concerns from innovation, security, all other. So a lot of concerns over those couple days there in June. And then it's your birthday, right? And this is one thing that I know Tom called out in his theory, was that the 28th was, you know, historically Markiplier's birthday. It was historically, still is. It still is and will always be Markiplier's birthday. He has not changed his birthday, contrary to popular belief. But like, I think in the early days, right, the joke was, haha, you know, they're memeing on Markiplier's birthday, but now it's canonized in the story that the 28th is also our player's birthday. PW, if that's truly the case, which is why Bunzo cites that, hey, I remember your birthday. I remember you. I remember your birthday. So again, all of this is kind of aligning with the fact that our player character is PW, who's apparently high enough up in this system that he's responsible for discussing all these, like he is a focal point for a lot of other people being upset. So even though he labels himself as just a biologist, he's actually kind of a key management figure at a certain point, especially here in 1995. There's 1995 again. I like that. I'm like, oh, it solves it, but it's literally the date up there. Construction review for new holding cells. Evaluation of the labs. Company away days canceled. Meetings about changes to the Playcare schedule. Canceled due to deeply unsettling noises in the seminar room. Another safety seminar canceled. Quitting. So this is, I think this is the last thing I wanted to really call out here with the calendar, is the fact that he was going to quit in August of 95, but was somehow persuaded to stay. And I think that's really, like, this is a really pivotal thing right here. Because even though he's being exposed to all these awful things, he's seeing them, he's committing these atrocities, whatever, something changed his mind. And that deepens his relationship with this company, that deepens his relationship with all these characters, right? And it changes the dynamics in a really interesting way. So just like what we've been talking about, where like Poppy, don't trust Poppy because Poppy is in cahoots with the prototype, and the prototype is, you know, the main big bad, and Poppy's lying to you and trying to lure you in. Like, really, this is one of those where, like, your player character really seems to be a pretty villainous entity in this whole thing. You know, I know we have the trope of, like, oh, the hero is the villain and the villain's the hero, right? But really, in this case, the character that we're playing as seems like they're pretty complicit with a lot of stuff, doing some pretty awful things. And even if they are feeling guilty about it now after the fact, like, they still did what seems to be a lot of awful things. And so, you know, the prototype might be mean to other toys, other toys might be scared of joining him and stuff like that. Probably, this seems like a story where there are no heroes, where there are no good people, where, like, maybe the toys themselves are good, you know, the Kissy Missies of the world and things like that, people who meant well by this world. But really, when it comes to your main players of Poppy and the prototype and our player character and, like, the corporate ladder, no one is good here. It's all just villains trying to kill off each other and get revenge on each other. There's a new schedule at Playcare. This is the one that we talked about. Think outside the box. And then there's a quiz at the end, which I wonder if there's a clue. Because this is the last page, isn't it? It is. This is the last page of the book. And so on one hand, it's like, oh, it's fun to have a quiz to kind of wrap things up, see how we hope you've been paying attention. But it is the one moment of interactivity in this book. It makes me wonder if, like, the letters or if the numbers spell out something, or if there's some number code here. When was Playtime co-founded? We know it's 1930s. How many legs? What pendant? No, I guess not, because this is Moon. What pendant does Catnap wear? What is Kickin' Chicken's favorite activity? Yeah, this wouldn't be. How much did Poppy Playtime cost when she first launched? It is interesting. Who is head of Playcare? So it is general questions about the book. It's funny, that's the last activity, though. I'm intrigued by that. Anyway, so those are my initial thoughts on some of the stuff that I know was in the beginning, some of the stuff that's at the end, and especially like a deep dive into a lot of the stuff at the end. But I know that there's stuff all throughout. This book is actually very dense with a lot of details. Like almost any page you turn to, there's an additional note from PW. There's some deeper description about a place that we've seen in one of the games. There's a description of something that you probably wouldn't have expected. But Ash, you wanted to call my attention to a couple things, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got some progress report and experiment notes that I think would be fun for us to go through.
Great.
So let me hop to the first one here. I think this is on page 86. Yeah.
This is progress report from experiment 1222. 1222, off the top of my head, is Mommy Longlegs, but, you know, I believe it's Mommy Longlegs, but I would say the big one here reinforces that. Initially, we believed experiment 1222 was a failure, being too hostile to work with. But we have made careful observation of her manner and noticed how protective she is of the other experiments. She has a motherly nature that we haven't anticipated, which is something that we've seen kind of reinforced in the game, where, similar to the toy animatronics in FNAF 2, where they're friendly towards the kids, but don't like the other, don't like adults or people that were mean to her or whatever. That's what we're seeing here. For Mommy Longlegs, we have put her to work at the game station, looking after the orphans. This seems to be going well. She's kind to the kids and doesn't act out in front of them. She seems to enjoy the games, and her elastic limbs can stretch hundreds of feet, which is helpful in keeping a big crowd of kids under control. Yeah, tell me about it. The orphans have questions about what she is. They figured she isn't a puppet or a person in a suit, but we made a joke out of it, and we seem to have convinced them to accept her. The doctor thinks it'll be good preparation for what comes later. That's pretty dark and sinister. That's pretty suggestive. One of the things that we saw hinted at in chapter 3 was this idea that the kids are starting to figure stuff out, right? Like, they know something's off, and they're starting to piece together the clues of this puzzle. They're figuring out, and here we see that reinforced too. They figure that she isn't a puppet, but she's also not a person in a suit, so what is she, right? They're starting to figure out that, hey, these toys might be alive. They made a joke about it that seemed to convince them to accept her. The doctor thinks it'll be good preparation for what comes later. So them accepting the toy that is Mommy Longlegs, I'm assuming the what comes later is them being turned into toys. If it's like, oh, Mommy Longlegs, wasn't she great? Isn't it fun to hang out with her? Isn't she so cool? And look at how cool her arms are that she's able to stretch. That could be you, kid. The kid's like, no. It's like, no, but look at how you'll be bright pink and it'll be fun and cool. You could be a toy. They're like, oh, I get to be Cat Bee. I'm assuming that that's what that's a reference to. Like, what if they're talking about what comes afterward. Other half of it. Launching the Mommy Longlegs toy has helped the orphans warm to 1222. She's now more familiar to them. However, some employees in the game station have concerns over her stability. She reacts badly if anyone cheats on the games. I mean, relatable. Kids should learn that they shouldn't cheat on games. Just saying. It's not something you should be celebrating, okay? Oh, you cheated. Good for you. No. Nip that in the bud. She can get difficult when the orphans leave and don't come back. Wow.
Fair.
God forbid someone cares. She has also been seen wandering around outside the game station in areas where workers without clearance can see her. We had to put out an announcement about it. And then here we have PW. The official line was that if spiders like that existed, everyone would already be dead. Not sure if some employees found that reassuring or as reassuring as they had hoped. So there you go. Yeah, I would say if that was the company line that they told me, that's terrifying. That's awful. Please get rid of those spiders. Absolutely awful. Here's Bunzo. Is it your birthday? You get a discount. 15% discount is on all concessions for anyone's birthday. Anyone over the age of 16 is required to present a valid ID. Yeah, I don't want them sneaking around. What else?
So, we got some more reports. This is specifically about the smiling critters.
Yes.
But I think it makes more sense to bring you to page 112. And then if you keep going through 115, you'll get the goods.
Ooh, get the goods. I like the goods. Okay, 112, going to play care. It's not enough to say you care. You have to show it. Becoming one of the world's leading toy brands is all very well, but the achievement that makes us most proud is our play care program. The work we do here really makes a difference to the lives of children who otherwise wouldn't have had much of a chance in life. Elliot Ludwig founded Play Care in 1976 with the aim of creating a state-of-the-art child care system for orphans. 76. So this is, 46 years after the company started? If it's 46 years after the company started, did Elliot Ludwig start the company? Probably. So he's getting up there. He's probably in his 70s at that point.
Whoa.
I mean, really, he's getting pretty old. If he started in the 30s, and say he's at best case scenario like 20 starting the company. So if he's 20, then at minimum he's like 76 here. 75, 76. It's getting up there. The aim of creating a state-of-the-art child care system for orphans. It's a home that takes care of all their needs, play, education, and, if necessary, treatment for trauma. There's no need for them to leave, ever. I don't think that's the goal of an orphanage there, friendos. You do want them to leave. You want to, foster them, encourage them, help them grow, and then, get the love and attention that they might not be able to get in their normal circumstances. But then it's like, you kind of got to release them out into the wild at some point. Just saying, as adults, as fully functioning like, teenage adults. We hope to provide opportunities for our orphans to remain in the Playtime family and work at the factory. As toys, get it? We strive to identify their potential and do what we can do to help them achieve it. Under the leadership of Stella Graber, Playcare has shown continued success and is even more important to what we do at Playtime Co. Yeah, because everything depends on the big toys doing stuff. Our Playcare orphans learn from us, and we learn a lot from them, too, as they rampage against you. Reading between the lines. We're sure you'll understand the orphans' welfare must be our top priority, and so to access to Playcare will only be given to employees who have passes based on background checks. They are, and again, this is present tense, they are very careful about not letting employees outside of Playcare and the game station to talk to the orphans. I guess if employees get to know the orphans, they might notice when one of them suddenly isn't around anymore. This guy, man, it's just like, he knows what's up. This kid's kind of the worst, PW. He's like, oh yeah, I know all this stuff. But again, very present tense, which is very important to note. And then here in our book, look, what a feel-good image we got here. I don't like Catnap and his friends. I see him everywhere. I can't escape him. See, that's not happy.
No, very sad.
That's not the sort of happy, well-adjusted that you're looking for there.
It's also a lot of water to come from one's face.
I would call that a crying child.
Whoa. Do you dare?
Ladies and gentlemen, I have found the crying child.
Whoa.
Crying child is also in Poppy.
Oh my god, they must be so sad.
And that child's name is Cassidy. Whoa.
Whoa.
Cassidy, which stands for cat, like cat nap. Cat nap Cassidy. Cassidy nap crying. All of them starting with C's.
Whoa.
C, 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 and now you see.
Don't you see?
They do see.
And C is the third letter in the alphabet.
Yes.
Crying child Cassidy.
3 C's.
Those are 3 C's.
That's 3 C's right there.
What do you know?
Wow. Really makes you think.
Really makes you think.
And if you're not thinking right now, what are you doing? Ask yourself.
You need to see.
Yeah. Crying child equals catnap equals Cassidy equals C. Big C.
Equals 3.
And 3. Yes,
and 3.
Thank you. And 3, yeah, of course.
Good.
Yeah.
Rule of threes.
Rule of threes. All right. What do we got? Don't be blind, okay? We encourage all play care by fostering or adopting the orphans. Additional benefits. It's okay. Orphans around the world. Yeah, that's not too much. I do like that they do leave this one line very intentionally exposed. Every child deserves a chance at a new life. I think we could all read between the lines there. Get it? They're giving a new life in the form of toys. All right. This is progress report for experiment 1186. Bobby Bear Hug from the Smiling Critters. Smiling Critters Bigger Bodies Initiative. So 3 hours follow. So this is new. So before we knew a fair bit about Mommy Longlegs, right? We knew that she liked hanging out with the kids. We knew that she was angry towards the other employees. We knew that she was protective of the other toys. So we understood a lot about Mommy Longlegs. We have not, to my knowledge, at least from going through chapter 3, I don't remember getting any sort of progress reports or any sort of information about the Smiling Critters and their Bigger Bodies initiative or any like testing notes or anything around them. So I'm curious about this. So Bobby Bear Hug, 3 hours following awakening observations. Her body continues to spasm, eyelids flutter, paws twitch. So we know it's a girl going into Bobby Bear Hug. Eyelids flutter, paws twitch. Subject doesn't seem to show any awareness of where she is. Could sensory functions be distorted or altogether absent? We speak to her, try to get her attention by making sounds, but she does not register our attempts. The auditory nerve in the ears directly communicates sound to the auditory cortex in the brain. It appears we may have failed at wiring the connective cords and might be forced to go back under the knife to fix this. A lack of response seems to indicate the necessity of this task. Real quick, you'll notice that for a second there, I'm like, oh, they're doing surgery, right? But this is a different handwriting. It's a different handwriting than PW. So even though PW is a biologist and is at least aware or somewhat participating, it seems, in some of these experiments, you'll notice that the handwriting is very different. So whoever is writing these reports and potentially doing these surgeries, and he could still be there, but whoever's doing these surgeries is not writing these. And you could tell based on the side-by-side handwriting comparison. Let's see. A lack of response seems to indicate the necessity of the task. Okay. It's clear that our procedures still haven't corrected the issue with vocals either. Her mouth moves as if to speak, but nothing is said. We'll need to correct these processes with subsequent subjects if we're to potentially have these toys interact with our children. In chapter 3, the standees, we don't have Bobby Bear Hug, do we? What do you think?
In the standees?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I have to think back.
Right?
I know one of them was... No, yeah, he has one.
Does he?
Yeah.
Hoppy Hopscotch. Okay, Bobby Bear Hug.
Hi, I'm Bobby Bear Hug.
Okay, so he does. So she does get a voice.
Know how much I love you?
How much? A lot? A lot?
I love you to the moon and back.
Oh, that's so sweet, Bobby Bear Hug.
I'm crazy about you.
I feel, I feel platonically friendly towards you as well.
I'm lost without you.
We're crossing into creepy territory.
I feel like this is
I've been
codependence.
lost a long time.
Yeah, I feel like there's a not happy relationship happening here.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that Bobby at some point, either that's a different Bobby recording that voice line, or Bobby does eventually get a voice connected, right? But I did want to call that one out because I thought that was fascinating. ooh, is this what Bobby Bear Hug looks like? So all the bigger bodies kind of look like Catnap, because this looks very similar to Catnap, right? So they all have this kind of like awkwardly large limb style, as opposed to kind of their like tinier chibi forms. Several hours after awakening, she tried to stand and walk to the other side of the cell, but couldn't keep her balance. She looks to be searching for help, continuing to spasm. She's trying to scream, but she has no voice. Kids franchise, ladies and gentlemen. She's silent. I'm not sure if she knows that she's not making any sounds. Work will need to be done to perfect the bigger bodies formula we began with Boxy. So, again, giving us I like this book a lot, and I like it and I like Poppy in general, because they very clearly have a timeline of events here, and they're not afraid to dribble out information about it, and they've been keeping track of it, right? Work will need to be done to perfect the bigger body formula that we began with Boxy Boo. So we know Boxy Boo is the first Bigger Bodies initiative. He was the first. He saw everything. Each iteration improves on the former. So does that mean that Bobby Bear Hug is second? Then, so the Smiling Critters were sooner as part of the Bigger Bodies initiative than I would have thought, right? However, if we're to meet the goals of Dr. Sawyer and produce Bigger Bodies subjects that we can integrate into a factory setting, then more work will need to be done. So that does confirm that that Bobby Bear Hug, at least, came before Huggy Wuggy, because Huggy Wuggy and Mommy Longlegs both were incorporated into the factory setting, right? We know that Huggy Wuggy served as a security guard, which is the strangest thing ever to say. But we know that Huggy Wuggy served as security. We know that Mommy Longlegs worked at the testing facility. So these guys actually came much earlier in the process. Catnap seems like he came much, I guess, later in the... Catnap would have been more towards they've done more testing, because he is used in the facility to like seed out the gas and stuff like that. Anyway, as it stands, Bobby will require further experimentation. If we're to create subject 1188 according to schematics, then each of these Smiling Critters will prove a good testing ground for ironing out these issues.
What is up with these franchises and schematics? Wasn't that a big thing from either Scott or Steelwool in an interview with Dawko?
Yep, one word, schematics.
What is up with that word and y'all? Is my question.
It's a great question, right? Because we never really came up with a good explanation for why schematics mattered.
Right? Why schematics? Is there like a secret meaning to this word that I'm not privy to? Simplified representations of networks intended to explain their structure and make the way they operate understandable.
There you go.
Schematics.
There you go. Right? It's an odd one, and it is getting called out a lot in both franchises. So that was them. I'm seeing these rejected files right here in 124, 125. But
it's so funny you say that, because that's exactly the pages I have pulled up in this book, and I think you should read them.
That is very exciting.
I know.
Because I saw that, and I'm like, ooh, that's a good number. Okay, incident report. Employee information, PW. Okay, so this is about us.
Yeah.
Incident report 1120 for science team eyes only. Rejected. So the incident was rejected? Okay. Following placement within his new body, subject 1188 was contained to allow him a slight adjustment period. However, a security team failed to properly secure and lock his cell. They attempted to confine subject 1188 after he broke loose and utilized several tranquilizer darts in order to subdue him. Their eventual success came at the cost of 6 lives, whom subject 1188 hunted individually. The aftermath of this massacre was like a scene out of a horror movie, all blood and bodies along the corridors, tinged with tufts of purple fur. 1188 is... Wait, who's subject 1188?
Why is he purple?
Why he purple, though?
And why he purple?
1188. Who is this? It's about Catnap, okay. The document of proposal for Catnap, which makes sense why he's purple. The only reason I was confused was because at first, when they're talking about escaping, using tranquilizer darts, 6 lives getting lost, the reason that threw me off was because that was very similar to, it's like Mob. Where's the Mob website? Here and here. It was, wow, they released a lot of stuff with Chapter 3. Okay. But I like that there's the trailers, the Forsaken, all this stuff. When they were releasing the analog horror stuff on their site, this one, the restricted disappearance, this is in 1992. But this is one where a bunch of people ended up dying as well. 5 dead. 6 missing out of this. So this is the one where Huggy Wuggy escapes from this facility. He disappears in 1992. I knew it was a lot of people dead. I guess it's 5 instead of 6. So they're all dead, but he also escaped and was brought back in through tranquilizer darts, which is why this threw me off. So so apparently just subjects keep escaping over and over again. In this case, it was catnap striking out and killing people, and the tufts of purple fur make more sense now. Moving forward, we need to create stricter safety protocols for experimentation. Losing people like this is wasteful. That's a word for it, both in terms of company resources and the valuable lives that were lost. But really, let's talk about this, the company resources. Thanks a lot, P-dubs. We respect the importance of the work and its intended outcome, but if we want to keep our work moving according to schedule, we can't. Wow, what a jerk. I hate this guy. I hate who we're playing as, presumably, in this game. We can't continue to divvy it up to the survivors and expect to keep the same pace or maintain morale. Yeah, because people literally died. These were our friends, our teammates: Nicole Calloway, Carter Stevens, Douglas McKinty, Dakota Geisler, William Cole, Trenton Roebuck. Remember those names. They were people, not things, people. I'd be happy to sit with upper management and detail my ideas for safety improvements to better avoid these situations in the future. I won't see another teammate die. And then it says here, it didn't stop with them, not at all. Nothing was done and nothing will be done. That's just what we have to live with. But PW, man, he sucks. Like, it's just calling a spade. Guys like, oh, we're losing company resources because 6 people died. Yikes.
Or there's 2 PWs.
Right.
Uh-oh.
What? 2 P-dubs?
2 P-dubs.
Don't you dare.
I know. I won't.
What else? Any other ones that you want to call out? Because we've been talking for a while.
We have.
There's a lot, and like I said,
dense.
It's very dense. It's very good. I'm seeing some new pages for the first time today that Ash is calling to my attention. I like a lot of this book, and I've liked every page that I've kind of landed on. I'm like, oh, there's something interesting on like every other page or so. Like it's pretty dense. Bless you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a couple routes that we can go.
You know who I want to talk about? I want to talk about Sir Poops a lot. Here's some rejected designs. You know what? Let's lighten things up from like the deep lore discussions about children being surgically transformed into toys, and instead talk about Sir Poops a lot. This classy, dignified fellow came with his own toilet, but he was rejected after focus groups had an overwhelmingly negative response. I can't imagine why. The designer who came up with this was fired. And then you have Kick Me Paul. Kick Me Paul. The concept behind this orange spherical toy was that kids could hit or kick him. We could say this was rejected for being contrary to Playtime Co.'s brand values, but the truth was no one liked him. He was resubmitted under the name Push Me Paul, and rejected again because the name was not the problem. I kind of love Kick Me Paul.
I really like Kick Me Paul.
I think I think, you know what, guys? I'm not buying Huggy Wuggy plushes. But you know what I am buying? Kick Me Pauls. I'm buying some Kick Me Pauls, man. Sign me up for a good Kick Me Paul.
I love everything about this. From the name of
the name is peak name. I love the name Kick Me Paul. It's so good. Push Me Paul is not as good. Kick Me Paul.
Like, the alliteration doesn't always help, and I think this is a prime example of that. Also, why Paul? You know?
It's so specific.
I like it.
It's great.
I don't know why, but I like it.
Also, I have a pair of shoes that look like Kick Me Paul's shoes, I will say.
You do?
I do.
Do you have the propeller hat? You could do a little cosplay.
Oh my gosh, I could do cosplay as Kick Me Paul.
Kick Me Paul.
That'll be my Halloween costume this year.
You could be Kick Me Paul, I could be Sir Poops a lot, and we could just be like a whole unit.
We'll need a Daisy. Daisy, this is weird. This is the other two like are funny and make sense. Daisy was a marionette in the form of a flower. During testing, she made children cry. Wow. So naturally, she was rejected. I hate flowers. I don't want to touch grass. The last thing we want at Playtime Co. is for kids to be scared. We would never knowingly design a toy to be frightening. By the time this was discovered, Daisy had already been added to some of our branding, and we may try to revive the character in a less creepy way someday. That's interesting. It explains why we're not seeing her around, I guess. Always stick with a bud. Aww. That's really cute. Think green and reduce, reuse, and recycle. That's cute. A defect, huh? That it made kids cry, huh? Meanwhile, you got a couple other ones. In the oven.
Let's do it.
A kitchen play toy with a difference. Well, 2 differences. First, he had a lovably grumpy expression, but secondly, and more importantly, he was a fully functioning oven with a top temperature of 400 degrees.
Wow.
Yes. He can be used to bake small cakes, mini pizzas, cookies. Sadly, during testing, several children received third-degree burns.
I mean, it can make pizzas, but it can't even get hot enough to do a DiGiorno.
No, that's true.
DiGiornos, you need 425.
Yeah, a lot of things you need 420. 425 is like a baseline for a lot of things.
Right? It's become the new standard of oven heating.
Right? 425. Oh, that's the real... Forget the third-degree burns. It was the fact that he could not get to a sufficient degree.
Yeah.
Oh, in the oven. More like crap oven.
Hello?
I don't know.
I have a food theory.
Oh, good. Yeah, okay, what's that?
Okay, well, it's more of a food question for Santi to make a food theory about.
Yes.
Why is 425 the new standard?
It's a great question.
Because I think we were at 350, 375
yeah,
for a long time.
it's slowly been creeping up for a long time.
Right? Why is it getting hotter?
Maybe because freezers are getting colder. So your DiGiorno's starting at a colder temperature. I don't know. It's a great question.
Or are like the ingredients that we're finding in different freezer foods just requiring more heat?
Right? Could be.
Whoa.
That's great.
Santi!
Hey,
bud!
Make it happen.
Please?
Santi, you are legally, contractually, if you read the handbook, you know that you are contractually obligated to watch every single episode of GT Live in its entirety, which honestly constitutes his entire job because we make
really
a lot
does.
of these and they are very long. But it's one of those things where, Santi, now that you've watched this episode and obviously gotten to this part of the episode, make that episode happen.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, bud.
Woo!
I literally just got off a meeting with Santi.
Oh, did you?
So I wish I could have told him there.
Oh, man.
Sadly.
So it goes.
Sunny Buddy, another flower toy. The issue here was that we never worked out what it was meant to do. He's just a flower in a pot. Weird. So random. It's like an anti-joke. Surprise hair. This was planned as a toy in the pocket money range. In the pocket money range, so like a couple quarters or a buck or two. Maybe with different colors and shapes to encourage collectability. However, it fell out of favor when we pivoted to the larger toys.
Ugh. I have so many surprise hairs. It's the worst.
Not real hairs, Ash.
No, I said what I said. Surprise hairs? Whoa, it's a rabbit.
I saw a surprise hair last night. It made me very happy.
Oh my God.
I love hairs.
Was it just like in the yard or?
Yeah, just in the yard, hanging out, nibbling, doing what hairs do, just nibbling. So cute. I love bunnies.
There's
I
so
love
many...
nature.
Right?
Nature's the best.
Nature is so underrated.
It really is.
Like when we say touch grass, I really mean it.
Yeah.
Y'all.
Well, maybe not. Maybe don't touch grass because grass. A lot of us are allergic to grass at this point.
I respect that.
Yeah, but like go outside and observe the moon. I was watching fireflies last night.
You had the lightning bugs too?
Oh man, it was awesome.
It was great.
So good. It's magical. It's so incredible.
It makes me feel like a kid again, man.
Oh man, bioluminescence in insects, just so cool.
Bioluminescence in 2024.
Right?
You know?
Watch the moon, watch some fireflies hanging around. There's a bunch of deer that hang out in our yard. I love watching them. They nibble the like plants around our pool. They eat all our pretty flowers, which is kind of a bummer, but they're so cute doing it, so I can't hate them for it.
Right? It's like, you know what? Fine. Cash in your cute coupon.
Right?
You deserve
this. Yeah, you
this.
deserve it. If I can help you eat some food, good for you, dear.
I'm paying my taxes.
Yeah, this is fine. This is good. This land is your land. Let's share it. Finish off here. Pet Stone, our design team insisted that this was a genius idea, but focus groups just thought it was some kind of a joke. Barrel O Huggies. We love this extension to the Huggy brand. I do too, actually. It's really smart. These barrel of small elastic Huggies could connect to form chains like the barrel of monkeys. Unfortunately, in testing, we found kids would mistake the Huggies for candy, creating a choking hazard. A shame, but the customer is always right. Yeah. I wonder if barrel monkeys got... Barrel of monkeys choke, world's smallest barrel. No, I guess.
It's a very sad Google search.
It is. Right? Barrel of monkeys exist. I'm impressed that people did not shove barrel of monkeys into their mouths and choke on them. Good for humanity. So there you have it. I feel like this is a good place to kind of break, right? We've done some fun things. We've done some serious things. We've seen some pages I knew about. We've seen some new pages for me. Anything else that we should call out, or is this probably about time?
I mean, it is about time, but I feel like I should say the Heritage Products page where we see Poppy on there is great. Okay. I really liked the prototype report as well. There's so many.
There's a lot in here.
So much content in this book.
Heritage Products, meet the toys that make this company great. Oh yeah, Poppy, Braun, Box. Oh yeah, all of them. There's progress reports. So many. About Braun specifically, the Braun model was thought to be appropriate contained. There's a lot. Here's the thing. How long have we been going for?
An hour and 12.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
So what we should do is, hey, if you like this, I know this is a little bit different because we're just flipping around a book and reading it and talking through it in real time. But if you like this, let us know, because obviously there's a lot more in here that we could discuss. There's a lot more detail in here. So anyway, let us know in the comments. Like, I'd love to do this again. I think this is a blast. I think that this book is really well done. I think the mob team has a really clear idea of the story that they're trying to tell, and are doing a good job of characterizing this world, these various entities in here, the different players that are participating. So if you would like to see more, let us know. I won't subject you to more if you're not interested, because it's me and Ash sitting down reading a book together, really. But if you liked it, it is a little bit different. I think there's a lot of value in this book. So let us know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, let me know something else. What's a good question of the day?
What's your favorite oven temperature?
Yeah.
Or I'll let you pick, Matthew.
Yes.
Which of the defect denied toys do you want to cosplay as?
Ooh, I'll let them pick, actually. Or maybe if you're feeling ambitious, include all three: oven temp, toy, and then also just let us know if you want more. Okay? Deal? We got this? Perfect oven temp, favorite oven temp, rejected toy, which one you're buying, and then lastly, should we do this again? Because I had fun with this one.
Oh my god, that's perfect. We have 3, and 3 is C.
C is 3.
You are the crying child.
Oh my gosh, the audience is the crying child the entire time.
Oh my god.
You are so all you Cassidys out there, make sure you leave a comment down below, which is also a C.
Right.
Which is also the number 3. 3C, crying child Cassidy. So all you Cassidys out there, thank you all so much for watching. Remember that this wasn't a live stream, but it was a video for you. I'll see ya.
C.
See ya.
Yeah.
I'll see ya.
I'll see ya.
They're all C's.